So I leave you to it. This is part of our group. Part of our group here. A lot of these agents are. Everybody here right now is one of my partners at EXP. And I'll let you take over.
Perfect. Thank you. Well, I really appreciate you having me on. Sorry to be running a few minutes behind today. When you're coming from South Asheville to back to Asheville, it can be a little treacherous. So, yeah, I am Bill DeVore. I am in the Asheville, North Carolina Market Center, and I have been in real estate. This is my fourth year. So, in 4 years, last year, 2023, I sold 20 million in volume, 29 and a half units. So my average price point went up. What you focus on expands. We'll get into a little bit of the luxury space that I've worked really hard to get into. But my average price point went up about 46% last year. And taken let's see, I have a $9 million listing in cashiers, and then was just on a $1.8 million appointment today, sold 9 luxury listings last year. So what you focus on expands. I really do believe that. And
Wow.
but it didn't start out this way. The graphic that Eli put up from jail to $1 million listings, it is a story that there should be a warning label, I think, that comes with this, because it's raw and it's real. And I share my story for 2 reasons. The main one is, it helps people. You're 5 years from being anywhere you want to be. 5 years ago, I was, let's see, I had just moved to Asheville. So, but I was just fresh out of jail. And I didn't have a car. I didn't have a driver's license. My real estate license was under review. And I had nothing. I went to jail with negative $150 in my bank account. I had spent it all. I had maxed out every credit card. And I had nothing. I don't know how. I had a house. I had bought a condo in Charlotte. I'm born and raised there, and don't know how I didn't get foreclosed on that. I should have been, but I did not. And but yeah, I was an everyday drinker and drug user. I tell people that I did about 20 years worth of drinking in about 6 years, and but I did it every day. I would start it. There in the end, the last 6 months, it would be I would start at 3 or 4 in the afternoon and go till 3 or 4 in the morning, every day. I was a PGA professional, so that was my previous career to real estate. This year, 2024, marks 10 years of being a PGA professional. I coached and I taught and I worked at a really high-end private golf club. Yeah, it was $80,000 to join and $1,600 a month before you put a tee in the ground. So that is a different level of clientele. And I think that's what has helped me with the customer service experience that I provide today. And then, but yeah, so fast forward to July 24th, 2018. I was going 110 miles an hour down the interstate that night and hit the car in front of me. Very gratefully and thankfully, no one was injured that night. I got out of the car that night to walk across traffic to end my life. I didn't want to be here anymore. I did not have a reason to live. I did not have the will to live. I didn't want to be here anymore. And something kept pushing me across. For me, that's nothing other than God doing for me what I couldn't do for myself. And walked in the woods and fell in a ravine 35 foot straight to the bottom. Came out with a scratch above my eye. Thankfully, I'm pretty sure you can no longer see the mugshot online. So that has fallen off very gratefully. But then I went to jail for 7 days. If you've never been, I do not recommend it. And then was given the option. You can stay or you can go and do something with your life. And I said, I can't live like this anymore. And so I went to rehab for 30 days. And they said, where are you going to move to? Because I had to change up my people, places, and things. And Asheville or Wilmington were both great recovery communities. And I chose Wilmington sounded fun. So I said, let's do the opposite of fun. And let's go to Asheville, which I thought was boring. And I had never been. And it's been the exact opposite of that. Let's see. And then I moved here, got dropped off. My parents said, we don't think you're going to make it. It was a 20-minute walk to the bus stop from the house that I lived at. The deck was not stacked in my favor. I mean, I look back on it now and I'm like, there are days I'm like, how did I do it? But I worked at Chick-fil-A. So going from great PGA professional to Chick-fil-A. And my actual first home sale came through the Chick-fil-A drive-through line. So you can sell the Lord's chicken and houses at the same time. And so it can be done. But yeah, somewhere along the road, someone said, I think you can sell houses. And now today, that's where I'm 5.5 years sober. So I haven't had a drink. The 16th will be 2,000 days clean and sober. I haven't found it necessary to drink today. Someone along the road, it was Stephen Cooley. You may know Stephen.
Yeah, Steven.
He's out of the.
He's got big signs everywhere when you drive over there.
He's
He's
got
all
big
over the
signs
billboards,
everywhere in
man.
Charlotte.
Yeah.
He's got 48 billboards in Charlotte. I think Mark Spain's got him beat, but Stephen reached out and said, what'd you move to Asheville for? So I told him the story, and he said, wow, I had a real estate license. So my parents had been in real estate. They told me to get one just to have it, and I never really did anything with it. And he said, I think you can sell houses. And I said, Stephen, I don't have a car. I don't think you understand. And he said, I think that sounds like an excuse. And I was like, okay. So he got me in touch with the team leader at the office that I'm at. And he said, I think I told him the whole story. And he said, I think you can do it. And so I didn't know what I didn't know. Even though I had a limiting mindset back then, limiting beliefs of, I don't know how I'm going to do it. And I jumped in. I would work at Chick-fil-A from 8 to 3, and then would walk 25 minutes from the Chick-fil-A in Merriman Avenue, downtown Asheville, to the Keller Williams office, and work from like 3:30 to 7. And I did that for a good year. And I closed. Let's say I didn't have a car. Remember, I didn't have a car. I didn't have a driver's license, and joined a real estate firm. That sounds like not a great option. And I sold 12 homes that first year without a car. I would Uber. I spent $9,000 in Uber to do that. And that's how I met my wife. She was my Uber driver one night. Most expensive Uber ride I ever took. And it still is expensive, even to this day. And we have an almost 2-year-old, Drew. He will be 2 in February. But one day at a time, then I learned. I went to the classes. I'm still extremely learning based today. I learned what I didn't know. I didn't know what lead generation was. I didn't even know how to spell it probably at that time. And I had to learn how to go out and talk to people. That's what I had to learn, and came in and did it, and eventually got a car back. I got a life back. And, this year I was #1 agent in the office. So it can be done. And it can. And then somewhere along the road, about 2 or 3 years ago, I raised my hand and said I wanted to sell luxury homes. And I prepared. I'd say every time I prepared before I executed. So I went and toured luxury communities. I went and developed the knowledge and the experience that I needed to do that. And that's where I want to offer today what works for me. And there's what you can take home today. And the people on this call, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people, can implement right now. You don't have to spend a lot of money either. It is, and I'll show you some examples of what I do. You don't have to spend a lot of money. The most expensive thing I do is my closing gift. And here it is. It's a box. And you open it up and it says cheers to you. And it's more about the packaging. Like, here's the note card that comes with it. It's a fond farewell. Natasha on here will realize that a lot of it sounds very Brady Sandalish. But it is goodbyes are not forever and goodbyes are not the end. They simply mean the DeVore Real Estate Group will miss you until we see you again. And you don't have to remember all that. I'm happy to share all of this with you. I can email it to Eli, and you can get it out to you. These cards are like a couple bucks on Amazon, but it's the presentation of what I do that's most important. That they get a surprise and delight program from me. That's 5 different gifts throughout the transaction. So the the very first thing is a buyer or seller guide. And my luxury one is in a really nice book. I don't have an example of it right now, but I can send you my presentation. It's generic. You know, I don't make it for each property, just so I can on the go grab them. And then at the same time, at the first meeting, they get a book. They get the one thing book wrapped up, real nice. It usually comes with a bow. And then the note says, I focus on my one thing, which is helping buyers and sellers accomplish their goals. I hope that this book will help you accomplish your goals and live a productive life. And they actually open it up and they read it and they really like it. It is a great touch. 10 of them, you can pick any book, you know, it could be any book that you want it to be. And as long as I think it's just a nice touch that they get. And then on photography day, this is the one that's probably the best one that I do. They get a candle. It's an anthropology candle wrapped up. We all like tissue paper. We all like to unwrap gifts. Let's see if yep. And the note comes up and it says, thank you for choosing the Buildable Real Estate Group at Keller Williams to represent you and your property. While we look for your buyer, please enjoy this scented candle. We will do our very best to find the buyer before the wick burns out. Sometimes in this market, you know, the market we just came from, you know, the wick may be like, you know, 10 feet long, but we certainly do it. And but they really like it and they really get a good warm and fuzzy feeling. We'll call it that. And then I added one this year. Let's see if I have it. Yep, I have it right here. So in North Carolina, we have a due diligence process, and that is our inspection period. And after they get a pin after due diligence, and it's a cross pin, comes nicely packaged. If you open it up, let's see here, comes nice and packaged like this. And then the note says, congratulations, you've made it to a major milestone. You've passed due diligence. Now you have a pen to sign your closing documents with. And it is just a really nice touch and something that they can remember and they can take with them. Now it's not branded to me. However, I didn't want everything to be branded to me. I wanted them to be able to use it without the mugs that I have, the Yeti tumblers. That is, you can go expensive or not expensive. And,
yeah, but you gotta throw those away now. You gotta buy Stanley, bro.
Yeah, you gotta upgrade.
Well, now I'm not sure I want to go out and fight people for those.
Nah. Yeti all day.
Okay,
Yeti all
I've
day.
had a Stanley for over a year. I think it's just the new ones that came out, the red and pink.
Yeah.
Go get a different color. You're good.
Yeah, because that was some intense stuff I saw at the Target. So they were all about that. But and then they get that last gift at the end, which is the box. And it's just it's throughout the transaction they're getting something from me. But it is where are luxury deals coming from? You know, I think it's important to know where your feeder markets are. You know, people are coming to my market to escape city life. You know, we're a small town, but still city. We have great views. We are a tourist destination spot. So knowing why people are coming and knowing the target audience that's coming, and I think that's been important. But what you focus on expands, and that is providing why do people spend thousands of dollars a night to go to the Ritz Carlton? For the experience that they get. They're willing to spend, and that's why when they, knock on wood, and this is, I know rarely do people, buyers or sellers, say they don't want to pay my fee. And while that fee is negotiable, I will say that. There you go. There's the catch. They know what they're going to get. You know, while I'm just an individual agent, you know, I am a single solo agent. I can do a lot of this on my own. I sit in here and package these things up myself. But it is they're getting the experience, and that's what's most important. So and then but branching out, referrals, you know, I think that is a big part of my business. 37% of my business is agent to agent referrals. A lot, the listing and cashiers came as an agent referral. Then they become part of my database. And then I talk to them, love on them. It's me. There's 200 people ask me all the time, you have like, you know, to close the volume that you do you have like 1,000 people in your database? I have 259 people in my database. 259 people provide 63% of my business. And that is where everybody goes, what? But yes, and they get touched and loved and talked to. And I had 600 people in my database. And there was one when I remember a task came up that said, call this person. And I just had that, we all know what that feeling is. Ugh, we don't want to talk to this person. So those people came out of my database. The 259 people that I'm willing to talk to now, it's growing and it's adding. And it's probably could be a little higher now, but 259 was the last time I looked. And those are the people that are getting talked to and they are getting loved on. So that's what's most important. But providing that experience has been number one. You know, I show up on photography day. I hire the very best photographer in town. Could I take cell phone pictures? Would I ever do that? Absolutely not. And you know, drones, and it's an experience to tell them about it when, you know, the photographer's out there and they show up on that day and they get the candle and they get everything. It's just it's an event. That's not even, it's just part of the transaction, but it's an event for them. And they feel like they can call me. We're working on boundaries. However, they can call me at any time. You know, they can ask me any question at any time. So that is, and then it's just once you get one or two, just like your first sale, everyone on this call has probably closed at least one deal. Nobody wants to be your first home sale, but everyone will be your second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. It just takes that one getting your foot in the door. And, you know, it's a slippery slope, I will say, to call yourself a luxury agent on social media. Do I do that? Yes. Have I toned it back? Yes. I had this is where you can learn from me. My mistakes is, especially when I listed that property, that $9 million listing, there was this fear. Someone I know in Asheville, I know them very well. I've known them for a while. And they had a $700,000 home to list. And he listed with someone else because he said, you only list $10 million homes and you're a luxury agent. My house isn't luxury. So you have to be it is a very fine line that you have to, do I sprinkle it in? Yes. Do I sprinkle in a little bit of everything now? Yes. That is a very valuable lesson to learn. Because where's people buying and selling today? Right here. There's the Drew man. So, that is, they have to see the presence there, in my opinion. So, I would start with that, and I know EXP Luxury is taking off and growing. I'm not sure what the requirements are to join. However, get in, especially on the ground floor. You know, that I got in on KW Luxury when there was just a few thousand agents. Now there's 15,000. You know, now I'm a regional ambassador. I represent. So it is get in on the ground floor and be a part of, and then watch those referrals start coming in. There's the secret right there. So it's about all I have for today. I wanted to leave some time for questions on anything really. And what that looks like, and if you have questions on luxury, if you have questions on, you know, the life piece that I talked about. But wanted to open it up to everyone and share your thoughts.
Absolutely, man. That was awesome. I love how in the middle of after everything you shared, which I have notes of, after all this, you're like, well, this is what you can learn from me. Like we haven't already learned so much, but that's good stuff. Anybody have questions, comments, doubts that they want to share with Bill?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I literally night before last had the same thing where a friend of mine was like, I know you only do the big $1 million houses, and I know my daughter's buying just peanuts, but I know you and I know you do well. Can you just tell me if you think she should go down this path or that path? And I've just been putting an asterisk and noting on every single under contract or sold. I specialize in luxury. However, I sell homes in all sizes and prices. How have you overcome people only thinking that you do this certain price point, so you're not going to even want to talk to them about their price point?
Yep. Great question. And so I have had to, that's a great question. So I'm really clear on what my target audience is, and I'm clear on what who my demographic
Avatar.
is. Yep, I'm clear on what that is, what that looks like. And if it doesn't fit that, then sometimes I do have to say no. You know, there's things that I can probably spot from a mile away that this is going to take me a lot more time than what I have right now. You know, my bandwidth is only so big. However, when I'm on a listing appointment, I have a $389,000 listing that was a Sphere this year. Her cousin bought a house from me 2 years ago, and then that cousin sent her to me. And it's $389,000 in West Asheville. It's nothing fancy. It needs a total renovation. And she asked the same question. And I said, you know, that's a great question. And I said, feel free to go look at my reviews online, and you'll be able to see all the homes that I sell. I've sold everything from a $28,000 lot to I have a $9 million listing, and everything in between. It's the service level at all that this surprise and delight, that $28,000 lot got the same surprise and delight that the listing appointment I just went on today. They all get the same treatment. And that's where I think we sometimes get a little lost on that. And we think that it's not the same, but it is the same. They all deserve the same treatment. And to that coin, that $28,000 lot bought a $400,000 cabin, has sent me as my biggest cheerleader on social media, and I've only met her once. But it's the experience that she got on that lot. And I didn't just turn away. Now, do I do land today? Not really. That A, it's not my thing, and B, it's a different animal. You know, I know what my strengths are today. So knowing what that is, but I have that conversation of now, have I lost people? Yeah, absolutely. You're going to. But I just look at it as, hey, they're not meant to be a part of my plan. They're not meant to be a part of this business. And that's okay. That makes room for someone else. That gives me time to go out. I'm looking at the board, and I have 22 listings about to go live. And they range from everything. There's $280,000 home all the way up to a $1.4 million fourplex. So, and then a couple in between. So I do a little bit of everything. And I've made that a little bit more abundantly clear, where you may have seen my social media a year or two ago, and it was like all luxury. Boom, 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 boom. I was vomiting luxury. That's what it was. And I had to pull that back a little bit. I had to pull that back. Do I go to the luxury events? Absolutely. You know, but I don't make such a big deal about it today, because it will pigeonhole you in a niche, and you'll get kind of stuck there. So, but just being, you know, here's my home sales. And, you know, I give just as much social media attention to the $380,000 home, just as much as I do to I've even kind of toned down the $9 million listing a little bit. Like it doesn't need to go out every single day. So, but they all get the same attention. And those people, I'm just as excited to close. I closed one yesterday for $515. Hardest deal I have closed in 4 years. Hardest deal. I have lost more sleep over one house than anything else. But I was just as excited for them and the experience that they got, and they left that closing table yesterday thrilled. That's a win. Just as much as it was for the guy who I sold a $1.7 million home last year, who had to sell, needed to sell, had already bought a house in Utah. And he said it was the best experience he ever had. He said there was agents in North Asheville in Town Mountain who had more experience than me. But he said, no one's going to work harder than you. I learned that. That's the mentality that you want. No one's going to outwork you in whatever market you're in.
That's amazing.
Hey, Bill, where did you get your boxes made at?
So the boxes are on Vistaprint. So that box alone is about it's like $99.50 out the door. 40 Yetis cost about $1,700, and then you can put two logos on, put EXP on one side and your logo on the other.
I'm actually the Yeti house, so I've gotten a bunch of Yetis over the past couple months while they've been on sale.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. But I order 40 at a time, and I get about 20 boxes, and that gives me about half the year. But on Vistaprint is the box, and you can design them. You can get them any size you want. And then, like I said, And then I put the it just says cheers to you. They get the 2 Yetis, and then there's some of that confetti stuff in there. So simple, yet people really like, and it's something that they're going to use. Yeah, my coach was like, well, we could be a little bit more economical and go with a different mug. Well, no, we could. Yes, we could. And people at this price point or any price point, I think they expect nice. And Yeti is a well-known name brand, and they're going to use that. That one's not going to go to the back of the shelf. You know?
Understandably.
That's awesome. Anybody else? Well, I will say, man, I love how you literally practice what you preach, because you started when. Oh, I think I lost. Here we go. You started with how you're learning based, and throughout your whole time that you've been talking to us, you've talked about every lesson you've learned. You learned not to focus on just luxury or let people think that you're just a luxury agent. You learned from your accident. You learned from your past. You learned from the golf course. You learned to focus on your database. Like, that's huge. That alone, that was mind blowing to me. Like, your database is 259. An agent like you, I thought your database, you had 2,000-3,000 people, but it's because you actually curated that database to only. And I think that's one of my biggest issues is I think unintentionally I try to be everybody's everybody, and that's a lesson, because then like right now we have commercial listings, the land listings, like, oh, maybe this is not what I should be doing. So that was an eye opener. That was good. That was good.
Being okay with saying no. No is a complete sentence, and that is something that I've worked on. I still don't have that one mastered yet. I know, like, if someone comes to me and says they want to go out and walk 12 acres, that is not me. I don't even want to walk to play golf. So it's know your boundaries, know your limitations, know what's, I enjoy the listing appointment today. I sent you a picture of it, and it's that's what's important. Sitting down with someone and having a conversation and helping them reach their goal. Just like my very first thing, when I share this book with them, it is my goal to help buyers. That is my one thing, to be your advocate when it comes to buying and selling houses. I want you to have the same experience throughout your life. So if I can help you do the same, then it's a win-win for both of us.
Awesome. Well, if there are no other questions or comments, Bill, can you leave us with 3 immediate actionable items?
Yep. Start somewhere today. Wherever you're at. If you're thinking about lead generating, then okay, I get 25 contacts a day. That's my goal. Your goal can be 5. Talk to 5 people today. Lead generation is number 1. If we don't have leads, we don't have a business. If we don't have a business, we don't have we don't have a life. We have to go back out and, what if when people say we get that real job? I'll argue that I have a real job most days. And but lead generation, number 1, start somewhere and have a plan in place. Number 2, curate your experience. That is number 1, or number 2 is curating the experience, whether that's through the surprise and delight. Maybe you don't do all 5. Maybe you do 3. Maybe you do 1. Maybe you do one really great thing throughout the transaction that people remember and they come back. That's why it's like 28 to 30% of my business is repeat from people who have already done business with me. That is a good number. I'd love to be a little higher, but I think it's a great number. And number 3, I would say, dive into eXp Luxury. I know it's relatively new and it's growing, and get in on the ground floor. There are plenty of people. Tina Call is a great one. She is building that eXp Luxury at a really high level, and get in, ask questions, be willing to help. If you've got luxury experience, provide it to people. So many people have given to me, and now I get to give back. That is the ultimate reward, I do believe. So number 1, lead generation database. Number 2 is curate the experience. And number 3, get involved.
One last question, Bill. So for your repeat clients, are you doing all 5 touches for the surprise and delight for when they come back?
They've already got them. So no, they already know the experience. Most of them are so easy that that's just like smooth sailing. So
okay.
they don't need another box of Yetis. So, but some of them have missed that part of my, journey when I had this. So yes, if some of those repeats have not been through the process, then yes, they get put on that process. But if the ones that have been through it already, no, and that's like surprise and delight part 2 that I need to sit down and work on. But if they've already had it, then they don't re-get it.
That's amazing. Yeah, repeat clients definitely a surprise and delight part 2. I like that. That's the second. Now what? When
Now
you're
what?
done, when you finish that one, please give us a call because we want to hear on that one too.
Absolutely.
Man, this was awesome. If you guys got anything good out of this, please thank Bill in the comments. Bill, how do we contact you if we have any questions, if we have referrals where you're at? How do we get in touch with you? Can you put that in the comments
I
section?
sure will. Absolutely, I will do it. But yeah, Asheville, North Carolina, most of all of Western North Carolina, I will service. And let's see, it is cell phone numbers coming up next, and then email address, and then follow me on social media. Always Bill DeVore, and I really appreciate everyone being here today. Thanks, Eli, for having me on.
Thank you, man. This is beautiful. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.